fed up and getting sick and tired of your bullshit. Well, then fucking answer my question. Then fucking answer my question.
Tell the customers they're going to get their tips.
No, they don't.
They should be told that you're taking them because this...
Kitchen Nightmares has been airing for the past decade as Gordon Ramsay has traveled around the country visiting restaurants and establishments in need. What usually starts off as a bumpy ride with stubborn owners and disgusting kitchens typically ends in a renovated restaurant and a full new attitude for all of the staff and owners. But what happens when a restaurant is not fixable, with owners so deranged and stubborn that not even Gordon could reason with them? In the rare case of Season 6, Episode 16, Amy's Baking Company proved to be beyond saving, as Gordon chose to leave halfway through his visit. Here's the insane, hilarious, and crazy story of Amy's Baking Company. In 2013, the original episode of Kitchen Nightmares aired and took the world by storm. Amy's Baking Company was an Arizona-based restaurant in Scottsdale, owned by Amy and Samy Bouzaglo. It begins with Amy and Samy, the husband and wife owners, explaining the history of their restaurant. Samy originally invested over $1 million to build the restaurant in 2006 to fulfill Amy's dreams. About 2 years prior to the episode's filming, bloggers began writing negative reviews of the restaurant's food and pointing out the owner's disgruntled behavior. Amy said the reviews were lies and stated that they would cost the restaurant a tremendous amount of business. Before Gordon's arrival, we're met with some of the scenes the camera crew caught during dinner service, documenting the slow wait times as the kitchen, under Amy's leadership, only prepares one ticket at a time. Samy displays poor customer service, such as telling anyone who doesn't like Amy's food to leave. Another instance shows him telling a customer who disliked his salad dressing to know what they like before they order it. One customer complained to Samy that he and his friend had been waiting over an hour for their pizza. This caused Samy to lash out at the customer and order them to leave, causing Samy to physically threaten them. Amy threatened to call the police and insulted the customers on the way out. Samy believes Gordon will set the locals right about the truth about their restaurant, and thus the episode begins. When Gordon finally arrives, he admires the cakes in the front at first before checking the kitchen. Now, normally in episodes of Kitchen Nightmares, the kitchens are usually in horrible condition with expired and moldy food spewing out of the refrigerators, along with countless number of health hazards piling up to Ramsay's dismay. But to Gordon's surprise, the kitchen was quite clean, with everything labeled and organized in the back, leaving Ramsay and the audience wondering why the restaurant was failing, but it didn't take long to figure out the real issue. They touted their wonderful marriage, and in their very first meeting, Amy almost immediately starts telling Gordon about the online haters and bloggers out to get her.
There's a lot of online bullies and haters and bloggers, and they come and they try to attack us and say horrible things that are not true.
Again, this is within minutes of actually meeting him, and you could see the lack of emotional control from her and her husband. So much so that she admits to fighting back and retaliating against the hate on social media, which, if you've ever worked anywhere ever, is a huge mistake. They also admit to closing the restaurant when either of them cannot be there, which is another huge mistake, especially in the food industry. But perhaps the biggest red flag arrives when Gordon is informed by the waitress Miranda that Samy keeps the tips for himself and that the front house staff only get paid hourly. When confronted about it, Samy doubles down on this and confirms it is true.
Miranda, the young girl?
Yeah.
You don't give her tips?
No.
His reasoning was that he felt like he needed to do most of the work, which was by design, because he's the only one that's allowed to use the POS computer system for some reason. Gordon ordered the following items, all of which ended up being mediocre, with raw dough found in the pizza, a soggy and tasteless burger, and an overall disappointment at all turns. Throughout his lunch, Gordon discovers additional problems. Samy tells Gordon that he doesn't tell Amy about the problems with the dishes, as she does not deal with criticism well. He learns that Samy, while in charge of the front of the house, only has one server on shift at a time. Samy is also the only person who is allowed to use the restaurant's POS system, despite Miranda, the only server on duty, having used POS at every one of her previous jobs. Miranda reveals to Gordon that Samy often inputs the orders incorrectly, causing mistakes such as ordered dishes being omitted. Gordon criticized Amy and Samy for the food served to him during lunch. Amy, however, refuses to admit any problems with the dishes, as Samy did not inform her of any of the problems.
I just delete everything from my menu and then close my doors. What do you want me to sell?
These are store-bought
I
crap
understand
frozen
that.
ravioli.
They're not crap, and they're delicious, and the first time I've ever...
Oh
Okay,
my
did
God.
you...
She further claims that she has never had any problems with the food Gordon ordered, and this has a lot to do with the lack of criticism being brought to her by her husband. Throughout service, customers are shown complaining about wait times and frequently send back disliked dishes, with Samy taking those dishes directly to the dish pit to avoid telling Amy the critiques. One table is shown not receiving a dish they ordered because Samy omitted it when they inputted the order, despite Miranda showing Samy she wrote it on the ticket. One table leaves Miranda a $10 tip, which Samy, when asked by Gordon, tells him he's taking it.
Wow, $10 tip.
Yeah.
That's nice. For you?
Of course, yeah. Why not?
Do you think the girls deserve some tips tonight?
No, they get hourly.
Gordon tells the table, and they're totally disgusted, saying that's horrible, before Gordon and Samy get into an infamous heated argument. At another point, Amy gives Katie, a food runner, a table number before correcting herself with a different table. Katie in turn asks Amy if she's sure, leading to a big fight, accusing Katie of having an attitude before firing her on the spot. Samy tries to change her mind, but she does not, and Katie leaves the restaurant in tears while Amy continues talking and describing her as a poisonous little viper. Gordon arrives at the restaurant the next morning, but Amy and Samy are not there, so he decides to meet with Jessica and Henry, two former employees, who both describe their awful experiences. Henry reveals that he was forced to wash Samy's car during dinner service, while Jessica claims that over 50 people were fired during the 18 months she worked at the restaurant, which we'll later find out is a much higher number. Gordon meets with Amy and Samy, telling them that they are doing everything wrong. Amy refuses to listen, becoming increasingly more hostile towards Gordon instead of listening, and insists that the customers are lying. When Gordon brings up Jessica's claims that over 50 people have left, Samy reveals that it was actually over 100 people that were fired. As much as Gordon tries to help them and reveal the truth of their problems, neither of them are willing to listen, and he's met with only excuses and
You're
hostility.
attacking my business and my life. This is
I'm
all
telling
I
you the
do is
problems.
live this life every day. You're not telling me the problems. You are saying I'm delusional, I'm this, I'm this, I'm this.
And as a result, for the first time in Kitchen Nightmares history, Gordon decides that Amy's baking company is unable to be saved. Gordon wishes them luck before walking out the door. In his final monologue, he explains that even if he was able to help them, he knows for a fact they would have never stuck to the plan he gave them. The episode's airing caused Amy and Samy to become internet memes, with the restaurant becoming something of a tourist attraction. Amy and Samy made hostile Facebook posts in all caps, telling critics to back off and that they were wrong. They later would claim that they were hacked and they attempted to capitalize on their fame by making t-shirts. This was all revealed in the follow-up Kitchen Nightmares episode, returning to Amy's baking company the following year. In this episode, a current interview with Amy is seen as she says the restaurant has become Disney World for the crazies, and Samy demands money from Gordon. Amy claims that customers who visit as a tourist attraction find that the food is actually really good, even citing a prank that someone put a roach on a plate as a prank. The restaurant held a grand reopening after the show was aired, but eventually ended up closing in September of 2015. Amy later claimed that this was due to an issue with the landlord, not due to the show or the bad reviews. It's a rare sight to see Gordon Ramsay throw in the towel, and ended up being the only time that has ever happened on Kitchen Nightmares history. The sad part is that they could have actually been very successful if they had just stuck to making cakes and pastries and actually followed routine and not have been such a problem themselves, since Gordon actually liked those. But it was the delusional and stubborn attitude of the couple that drew the end for Amy's baking company. We're not sure of Amy and Samy's whereabouts nowadays, but we hope it's not in the restaurant business. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it and want to see more, please be sure to hit that sub button and notifications to stay up to date with the latest videos. Have an awesome day, and don't forget to stay hydrated.